plan things out. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so
By the way, I'm Katie.
I'm Garet. This is one of our...
That was a hell of an intro to this.
Yeah. I guarantee that's going to get cut.
At least not the tail end will be good.
Yeah.
Will be included because that's a good segue.
So I feel like this is one where I'm like, this is going to be a short, and it's going to wind up being a full-length episode, but this is one that we are pre-recording.
So the point of, though, I think the momisodes is just like, it's like a one source researching. Like,
I honestly didn't even research this. This is just like
Right.
what I do.
So that to me is like what makes them easier for us to do.
Yeah, these are like our little bite size, easier to
bite-size
crank
for
out.
us.
Yes, not for you. Sorry.
Yeah, you get to suffer.
You get the mouthful.
Welcome.
I can't believe Katie let that one go and didn't roast me for saying mouthful.
Well, you didn't say like a mouthful of jizz.
I didn't. Thank you, though.
Sorry, Mom.
So happy with her.
I feel like my mom stopped listening a few episodes ago at this point.
She's like, I just can't.
I'm pretty sure.
So you'll probably be hearing this sometime during summer travel season, which is good timing. This is a traveling with ADHD episode. So, and this is also me living vicariously through you because I will not be traveling anytime soon.
You traveled last summer, you jerk.
I did. No, but I mean, like, going forward, I won't be traveling anytime soon.
Yeah.
So we kind of went through a phase where we traveled a bunch for a few years. And I think in hindsight, there's been things that I've learned each trip that I'm like, oh, I have to remember that next time. And because I have ADHD, never 0% of the time remember.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I will at the onset of this episode that I personally do not do because I forget is to keep a travel journal of places that we went, things that we learned.
I did that when I did that month-long tour in Europe when I was in college. I have a travel journal in my pile of other journals that I've kept throughout my life.
Yeah, but you're a journaler. I'm not a journaler.
I haven't actually written in my own current journal in quite a while, and I keep it's sitting on my coffee table, and I keep looking at it like, oh, I gotta write some stuff down. Like
it's looking at you like,
yeah, I'm like, God, there's just so much that I gotta write down. Doing that ADHD thing. Where
yes,
I'm like,
you get overwhelmed, and then you don't do it, and you avoid it. So I tried to break this into like some different sections, but ultimately it's all gonna, fucking overlap and be a mess. Cool. So, like I normally deliver. It's funny because like I listen back in all these different episodes. I always give this like warning at the beginning, like a lot of these things are interconnected. I'm going to try to go through it in a logical way. So that's this too.
I did that in my, by the time this comes out, I've heard the essential oils episode and I was like, this might seem repetitive. And then I was like, but every time I listen to an episode personally of any podcast, I'll find myself rewinding to like re-get the information. Because they'll be like, this is from blah, blah, blah. Give the information, and they don't say the name of the thing again, and I'm like, oh, but I needed the title.
Which is one of the times when, like, I do really well with, like, those carousels on Instagram, so I can, like, swipe back and forth and, like, refresh my memory, because it is the memory of a goldfish. So, prepping for a trip. I am a nerd and love Excel, so, as does my spouse. So, I was going to say 9 times out of 10, 100% of the time, every trip involves an Excel document. We travel, we track, like, initially it becomes like anticipated expenses. I think airfare is going to be this, or hotel or Airbnb are going to be this. But I think also we usually, for like bigger trips, because we are very cool, we usually wind up printing and laminating the plan and where we're staying and confirmation numbers so that we have
also
everything.
Punch a hole through it and make into a necklace?
No. It just goes in our bags.
But now that you mention it,
you know what?
Do that next time.
And we do
like the tour guides that are holding up the laminated thing. Group A!
Speaking as someone who went on a Viking River cruise and was mortified the whole time, yes, that is what it was like. They would call it the lollipop that they were holding up. And all of the Europeans would laugh at you. And we'll get there. So I do make an effort to make sure I have a rough idea of the kind of layout of things, of the area, of how to get around, like things to become familiar with, also events that are going on.
Do you do this only when you're traveling internationally?
No, I would say I do that no matter what. Because like if you do a little bit of research, sometimes you'll find out, for example, we stayed in the old part of Montreal, which is like Europe, and it is impossible to park anywhere, and driving is horrendous. So that was
you know that that's an international location for us, though, right?
Yeah, I guess that would be. To me, in my brain, I'm like, it's not that far. So my brain's like, no, that's not that far.
Heading that comment out at the pass that we've got on Instagram.
That's a good point, Katie.
What about like when you go to DC? Because I know you go to DC a lot.
Also a place that's horrendous to drive. Yeah, I think it's good to, or at least have an idea of like things that are, where things are that you want to do in relation to one another. And okay, is it going to be feasible to drive? Is it going to be feasible to walk?
I know you don't like it, but I'm going to reference it anyway.
Friends?
Yes.
Fuck!
But they're in London, and Joey is trying to find all of the monuments that he wants to see. Mm-hmm. And so he's like getting disoriented, and he has his map out, and he's like, I don't know where I am. I have to go into the map. And Chandler's like, what does that mean?
Into the map.
He put it on the ground and like stepped on it to like figure out where he was.
Cut to me literally hiding around the block because I don't want to be seen with the person going in the map.
Yeah, so Chandler left him because he was being embarrassed.
Yep.
And then he met Fergie, Princess Fergie.
Oh.
Not the singer.
I totally didn't think that. I don't know why.
My London Bridge wanna go down. You thought I was done with karaoke, didn't you?
I did. I also recommend, like one example is, making sure you're checking things that are going on locally. We went to Amsterdam, and it was we specifically did it so we were there during this light festival.
Oh, cool.
Where you can like do a tour of the canals, and you can see all these different like displays that all these different groups do, which was very cool.
Did you see anybody fall into the canals?
No. But it was an intrusive thought the whole time. Like, don't go too close because you might fall
there's like
in.
no railings.
Yeah.
They put a lot of trust on humans and your self-preservation.
Europe in general, there's just a lot of trust. If anybody's been to the Cliffs of Moher,
you can just go.
There's a very small railing, and then when you go 5 feet down, there is no railing, and it's just open air.
There's like a sign every 100 meters.
Like, don't be a dummy.
Yeah, underneath this is rocks. So it'll hurt.
An ocean. Bye. And another thing that I do find really helpful is I will go on YouTube and watch like travel vlogs. Oh. Because there's been some times where I've been like, oh, we should go here. And then I watch a travel vlog and I'm like, that does not seem like something I would enjoy at all.
I know people do that a lot for Disney trips because there's like Disney travel vloggers who are like super like savants when it comes to Disney and like figuring out how to like make your fast pass thing work and like get into all the rides you want to get into and how to do that and which restaurants to make reservations at and which ones to skip and like what for your like age group of your kids and they're super
exhausting
intense.
Just to think about.
It is, and I wish I had known before I went to Disney with my mom and my brother though, because like the last time we had gone to Disney was 1994.
Right.
So it's a little bit different.
Yes.
But, so I wish I had done that, because then, like, after the fact, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
There's, like, a wealth of information out there.
Yes.
It just doesn't occur to me to, like, go to YouTube.
And, like, I feel like it's also helpful to watch, like, as somebody goes through the motions of something.
Yes.
It is helpful to see, and then they'll point out things like, oh, I did this, and it was horrible, and this is why. So I think there's definitely, or, like, I'm an anxious person, so if I can see something play out and I kind of then know what to expect, it immediately makes me less anxious about that thing.
Like reviews on Chewy.
Yes, like reviews on Chewy. Tune into Patreon.
Bag.
We also don't tend to travel like during the peak of summer. We tend to go off season, either early fall or late spring, just to kind of miss some of the crowds.
And it helps with like work schedules, I feel like, with that too. Like I never have to worry when I request my vacation in early September, that there's going to be a conflict with like someone in my team and
right.
my shit won't get
right, like in the middle of summer. Yeah. And I also recommend, I think like one of my biggest travel tips, especially if we're doing like longer trips or international trips, I always schedule it so that we're getting home on a Friday before a long weekend. Just to give us like that extra time to like get the grocery shopping done and all of that.
Oh yeah, I always forget about the groceries. I always think of laundry.
Yes. And like in a perfect world, before we go, I love to wash the sheets so that when I come home, I can like shower because I like showering when I get home from a trip.
Yeah.
And then like get into clean sheets. I'll be honest, I don't always succeed with that. It totally depends on how much time off I have and how anxious I am. If I'm actually going to be able to get all, because I do like to come home and like have a clean slate and not have to worry about like any mess that I've left from before I left.
Yeah.
So I do tend to, with that kind of Excel spreadsheet, lay out a schedule where I'll pick like 1 to 2 things to do a day.
Okay.
So I think sometimes it's tempting when you go someplace to like, oh my God, there's all these things, and pack a million things in, and then you're like dead because you've overdone it.
Yeah, I would get super burnt out. Like even at Disney, we just did 1 park a day.
Yeah.
And then once we were done with the park, we just went back to our room and chilled.
Yes.
Like,
which like you have to. I mean, I've done both, and I've had trips where, you know, we would do an 8-hour drive and then we're like packing things in the whole time we're driving and packing things in when we get there. And I'm just like, that is not my speed. And I don't enjoy it. And then I come home and I'm like completely wiped out, which you are anyway from traveling.
Yeah, actually, I was just talking with my, the lady that I share a garage with at my apartment complex yesterday. We talked about like, because I let her know that I would be moving, but that my brother would be staying at my place for a little bit. So like his car would be in my spot and da-da-da. And so we were talking, and she was telling me how, like, when she was younger, she traveled all through Europe with her sister for a month. And she's, like, Southeast Asian, I'd say. Like, she has a thicker accent. But she's this very nice old lady. And she was like, oh, no, I went to Germany and Italy and did all this and that and the other. But she said that, like, she used a tour company because then she didn't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to her and I was like, you know, I don't like to have to like hyper stress out about like missing my train every time I have to make a connection or like whatever. Like I still want my vacation to be a vacation. Like I don't like once I take this huge trip, first of all, something like that, like you're gone for like 3 weeks. You have no more money left when you come back. So
fully broke.
That is the end of the vacations for the year.
Yes.
But like I don't want to come back from I don't want to need a vacation from my vacation.
Yes. And it really does like wipe you out. And there's pluses and minuses. Like I think depending on what you're looking for, like doing it with a company, we've done it both ways. We've done like self-guided things that we use a company to like set some stuff up for us. We've done some fully tour company and some where we've done it completely independently. So it's definitely like what you're looking for.
Yeah.
We tend to go into it with like an A-list and B-list of things that like we absolutely 100% want to do. And then a B-list because sometimes like Google's wrong and something's closed or...
And depending where you're going, I really like just kind of wandering.
So one of the things that we do is we do a lot of things on foot, which I talk about like when I get to the section on packing. But I just think you see and experience a place so differently when you're doing it on foot, which is why I don't love doing tour companies, because it is nice to like have the freedom to be able to kind of meander and get lost a little bit. But I think definitely having some backups of like other things and knowing just offhand, like knowing roughly where they are in relation, and just like not overloading or we'll do it where like there's a morning thing and an afternoon or evening thing and that's it. Cause you may walk and be like, fuck that, I don't want to go do that thing later. I want to do that instead.
Yeah.
Or you just happen upon something. And also it's going to take longer than you think to get around and to find a place to eat. Speaking from experience. Also, I didn't include it, I don't think, in here, but pick what and where you're going to eat before you leave where you're staying. If you're at a hotel or an Airbnb and you're really hungry, pick the place you're going and go straight there. because we always do that lie where we're like, we'll find something along the way, and then you cut to me having a meltdown someplace, and it's just not great.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I warned PK about when we first met.
Yeah.
Was like, if I tell you that I'm hungry, it is not time for you to dawdle.
There's a window.
One of his friends, like, is notorious for like, oh, okay, we're hungry, like, where should we eat? Oh, I don't know about them. I don't like them. I'll just find, it's fine.
Nope.
Like, and I'm like, no, just, I'm picking.
Yeah.
Like I told him, I was like, if that starts around me, I will, like, just, like, you might hear from them about how I'm bitchy, but, like, I'm not sitting around with this.
No.
Let's talk about it for an hour and a half.
No.
And that's local. Where I know where all the restaurants are.
Yeah, no, I can't. No.
Like, traveling, absolutely
can't
not.
and won't.
I would fight them.
Yeah. No, it's terrible, and we've done it before, and I've fully had a meltdown. I also recommend something that we tend to do, like, at the very beginning of a trip is some kind of, like, tour, which also will help you familiarize yourself. I do try and find, like, a weird tour to do. So we did, like, one of the less popular, we were in Amsterdam. It was, like, These Damn Boat Guys or something was the name of the company. And it was definitely, like, it wasn't one of the big fancy ones, but it was way more fun. And it allows you to
be with that name.
Yeah.
It can't be boring.
Well, and that was like, their website was funny and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's who I want to go with, because, like, that's going to be more fun. And it gave us a good idea of, like, the layout and kind of where things were located. Or sometimes you'd go past something and be like, oh, I thought I wanted to do that, but I don't want to do that. We also did that in Edinburgh. We did a ghost tour, which was very cool. We did it at night.
Did you go to the, like, tunnels?
We did.
I want to do that so bad.
It's real creepy.
I told PK I wanted to do that, and he thought I was lying because I'm so afraid of scary movies.
Yep.
And
we also went to Greyfriar Abbey. So in the city of Edinburgh, because it's, like, on a hill, they kind of just, like, kept moving the bodies in the graveyard. So at one point he was like, we were on a hill, and he basically told us that the hill was just made of old bones. And he was like, I want you to guess how many bodies we're standing on top of right now. And everybody was like,
that's a weird game.
Everybody's like, I don't like this game. My biggest beef with that tour was the guy had very long legs. He looked a lot like
like somebody from Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm thinking more like not R2D2, C3PO. But there's also, like, a movie with a tall, thin grasshopper. Was it James and the Giant Peach? Wasn't there a tall, skinny grasshopper in that?
I don't know if there was a grasshopper in that, but there was definitely tall grasshoppers in A Bug's Life.
Yeah, he had, like, this one had an accent, like a British accent, maybe. But that's what this guy reminded me of. But anyway, he walked very fast, and I have a very hard time keeping up with somebody with long legs. We also did that in New Orleans. We did a ghost tour, which was very cool. Do recommend.
Between the two, which was cooler? Just to really
the one in Edinburgh was like the one in Edinburgh was definitely a little bit less, like, corny.
Okay.
He was dressed up, which at first I was like, I'm not going to be seen in public with somebody dressed up. But it was super informational, and he told, like, cool stories, and I think that one was a little bit better. But the one in New Orleans was also good.
Oh, yeah, there is a tall grasshopper person. Oh, wait.
In James and the Giant Peach?
Yeah. You see him there on the far?
Oh, yeah, that's what he looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had on, like, some kind of military uniform.
He wasn't wearing a morning jacket?
He wasn't. No, weird.
Weird.
So packing for a trip. Obviously, it depends what time of year you go. And I know we've, like, mentioned this on the pod before, my obsession with neutrals that I can mix and match.
Mm-hmm.
I pack the same way. And I pretty much have, like, a standard packing list that I use for every trip. So when I'm packing, I kind of, like, walk through my day. I'm like, okay, so I need, like, skincare items and shower items and deodorant. And, like, when I'm getting dressed, I need underwear and bras and this and this. So I kind of, like, walk through it that way. Apparently, I have to keep them restrained. I do tend to bring, one small purse that can fit inside my travel backpack. So I'll put like my documents or something in that small purse that goes inside my backpack. A backpack, and then we got those away suitcases, which I definitely recommend. They're really great suitcases. And they also
Away, sponsor us.
Oh, yeah, sponsor us. I would love that.
You lit up.
Those suitcases nestle. All of them are designed specifically to nestle inside one another. So like we got one that's like a universal carry-on, and we've got like gotten them over time.
Yeah.
And then we have one that's like a good, I would say it's good for like a week-long trip. And then I think my spouse also got one in that size. And then we got like a big one that is hard to use because it's very easy to make it way too much. And you have to pay overweight fees. But yeah, those suitcases are the best. And they're hard shell, and they come in like unique colors. So I feel like it's so easy for me to find my suitcase like on the belt.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I mean, they're an ugly color. They're like this awful, like fleshy tan color, but very few people are going to be picking that ugly color.
Is that why you picked it, or was it just on sale?
I didn't want, they have more color options now, but I didn't want a black suit. I mean, I love a good black bag, but I wanted it to be easy to find.
Yeah.
So I figured that would be one of the easier
I got PK a black one for Christmas, and all I could think was how I'm going to have to put like pink and teal ribbons on it.
Right.
When we fly.
Right.
But
so it just makes it easier to find it on the belt. Like I can be really far away and I'm like, oh, there's my bag. So I think that helps. Depending on the season, and I do really try and like.
My suitcase is hot pink, by the way. You didn't ask, but.
Your, what were you mixing up? It was.
Oh, my
bikini and suitcase.
I want a pink suitcase, and I meant swimsuit.
Yes, yes, and that's what I was about to be like. Is it your swimsuit
as a toddler? Just to be clear, guys,
this was not recent.
This was not like last summer that I was screaming about wanting a pink suitcase, and I couldn't find a pink
meltdown. Yeah, mine's just a fleshy color. Depending on the season, and like we were mentioning earlier, I do like to see things on foot. That's how I prefer to sightsee. So I try and make sure I have like a pair of, depending on the season, sandals or boots, a comfortable pair of sneakers, and then like a pair of flats. So not me out here trying to get sponsorship, but flats, I have Rothy's because they're super lightweight and
drivers
they're comfortable.
So nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're comfortable to wear for like longer periods of time.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about like I know I can throw them in the wash.
Yeah, for sure.
So I always travel with a pair of Rothy's. Allbirds for sneakers are they're just like they're just the best. And I am a sneaker person. Like I have so many pairs of white sneakers.
She really does.
It shouldn't be allowed.
Like a nurse from the 50s.
I used to roll my eyes at my mom. My mom would be like, I'm telling you, a pair of loafers and a pair of white sneakers. And I'd be like, okay, Mom. And now loafers and white sneakers are kind of my thing. So lots of white sneakers, but really the Allbirds, and they're super lightweight. And then I can throw them in the wash when I get home, and they're like good as new. And they're comfortable to wear all day. And I can wear them like with pants. I can wear them with shorts, with dresses. I never have packed any kind of heel traveling because I won't wear them, and it's just going to take up space in my suitcase. I am not very good at being like an ultralight packer.
Me neither.
Because I want options, and I hate the feeling of being away without options.
Although I have gotten a lot better because I am too lazy to lift a heavy suitcase.
Yeah.
So my options will be, I'll have one nice outfit, and which is usually like slacks and a blouse of some sort. And then even for that, like I don't necessarily bring heels, but I'll bring a like nicer sandal, like flat sandal. So that first of all, it doesn't take up space, but second of all, that can also kind of like dress up a more casual outfit.
Yep.
And
vice versa, you can also wear during the day more casually if you need to.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily for like walking long distances, usually for those, but it can like get me through. So I bring options like that now as opposed to like And I still end up trying to bring options where it's like, even my fancy stuff, I can wear like the most utilitarian of bras.
Yes. Like, and that's one thing I do emphasize is like, I only will pack items that I know are comfortable. Yeah. If there's something that like fits awkwardly or isn't comfortable or
yeah, the reality is if I don't wear it at
tight
home,
in one
I'm
spot,
never wearing it when I travel.
And the other thing that I'll do too is I'll try and to get like more use out of something when I pack it is I'll try and wear it to like dinner one night and then wear it for like another out during the day so that I can kind of get 2 wears out of something where I'm maybe not necessarily like sweating through it.
And like realistically, guys, like the paparazzi's not following you around. You can wear outfits again.
Yes.
And I feel like, especially in Europe,
my only thing is if I sweat through it, I don't want to wear it again.
Well, that's so when I did that month-long trip, it was like 2 weeks in, and I just dropped my laundry off at a wash and fold. Yeah. And just picked it up a few hours later. Yeah. And that was it. You know, it wasn't like exorbitantly expensive, but at least then I had like my staple items, like my jeans and all that stuff were like the fibers were reset and like whatever. I didn't have to worry about it. And
I did when we went on that Viking cruise, I got these like you know the laundry sheets that have detergent. I got like I tore those up into like small bits, and there was a couple times where like I would wash a couple shirts like in the sink and then hang them up outside. Yeah. To let them dry, and that was good because then at least if I was like sweaty and something,
that's something that I would definitely do now. That a girl that was on my tour did that. All she had for a whole month was a backpack, like a huge LL Bean backpack.
Like so much respect, but I can't do it.
Oh, it was nuts. She was also very goth, so everything she wore was all black.
But similar concept to the neutrals.
Very similar.
Everything can mix and match.
And she just washed her stuff like every other day. Yeah. So whoever her roommate was, I don't know if they were okay with it or not. But
too late now.
That being said, it's not like you're hanging a whole load of laundry dry. You're hanging
a couple of items.
Things. Yeah. But yeah, that's all she had. Like
I'm not.
The bus driver was always confused when she was like, "No,
that's it." On. Yeah, I can't. Like I can be efficient. And I definitely make sure that, like, okay, I have this and I can wear it with this, or this, depending on the weather. Like, I'll bring, you know, like a couple of, maybe like a cardigan and then like a pullover sweater that are like maybe gray and black and like a scarf. So if I need to like differentiate something or I want it to look different or whatever. Or, you know, I usually travel with like a denim jacket so that if it's chilly, I can bring it and I can throw on another layer. But
which is the tricky part of traveling in the off season is that you are more susceptible. Right. You're more likely to encounter like crazy temperature swings where you'll need a light sweater and a heavy sweater.
Yes, because it could be 50 or 80.
Like we're dealing with this week.
Don't even get me started. Another thing that's worth doing is checking to see what, like, especially if you're staying in one place, what, like, facilities they have available. So, like, if they have a hairdryer, don't pack. I mean, I don't know that I normally pack a hairdryer, but in case, like, you're somebody who that's important to, you know, travel with, or, like, shampoo and conditioner. If you're not, like, committed to one type of shampoo and conditioner, if they've got one in the thing, you can save yourself, like...
Or just stop by a pharmacy and get it when you're there. So that at least you're not... And get, you know, you can get the smaller containers of it and you don't, you know, you're not wasting space in your own suitcase or wasting weight because those are non-negotiably heavy.
Yeah. Or, like, the thought of, like, something opening.
Yeah, that too.
I will take a little bit of saran wrap and I'll like put it under a lid and then screw the lid on so that things don't leak.
I just put it all in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah. So when you're actually like the actual process of traveling, and this is definitely, I would say, probably geared more towards international travel, but it would work for like any like long trips. I make sure that's one time where I am like pretty efficient is like a carry-on bag. I just don't put a ton in there. Like, I have a very hard time I can't, like, listen to music while I'm traveling because especially, like, plane travel, the plane is so loud that I feel like I have them, like, blasted and then I'm, like, overstimulated. So, I tend to bring something to read. I do have something to listen to that I usually don't listen to. I use that as a way to, I take like one of the bigger sweaters or jackets I'm going to bring, and I put it in my carry-on so that I'm saving space in my suitcase, and I have something because I inevitably get cold on a plane. I also bring like wet ones wipes.
Yeah.
So that when I sit down, I can do like a quick, and like usually I feel like they are cleaning planes in between. Now. Yeah, but I just feel like generally it's kind of grimy, so I'll like
also I love those deodorant
down.
Wipes, or like Lumi makes like acidified body wipes that are unscented, and they're great for like kind of just like cleaning
freshening
yourself.
Up. That's a good. That would be a good thing to include in this because I've never used those.
And yeah, I got it in like in my order from them once. It was like a sample pack. It was like 15 wipes. But I've used it like after work before going to the gym just to like have a baseline after sitting at my desk all day and being gross. So that I'm not like extra gnarly at the gym or working out. And yeah, those are also good. I recommend them. Or like I said, they have like deodorant wipes. Yeah. Or just put a stick of deodorant in your bag.
Because I usually will bring like basic hygiene items so that when I land I can freshen up. And sometimes on overseas flights especially, they'll give you a set that like has like a toothbrush and toothpaste and stuff. But
also those Colgate Wisps are good for
that. Those are helpful for that too.
Yeah, like if you don't, like if you have everything in your like hang up toiletry bag in your main suitcase, you can do like Wisps and like the little travel thing of deodorant and the wipes and like those little things that like, yes, they're using more plastic, but like this is the purpose they're for.
Right. And it is nice like to be able to land, especially if you have something to do or additional traveling to do when you land. Before like I go through and get my luggage and everything, I'll take like 10 minutes in the bathroom and just like,
because so often, especially international, like if we're flying to Europe, you land at like 9 a.m. and you can't check into your hotel till like 3.
Right.
So you're
and a lot of the time you're traveling to your hotel, so it's definitely worth. I also will bring like a fresh t-shirt and an extra pair of underwear.
Yeah.
Just so that I can like swap out my underwear, swap out my t-shirt. I don't feel like grimy. I feel a little bit better.
Which definitely like can give you more energy, I feel like, when you feel clean.
Yes. Like a little refresh.
Yeah.
And also make sure that you're putting any medications that you're traveling with, especially prescription medication, in your carry-on in case your luggage gets lost.
Yeah, and make sure that you're traveling with like your prescriptions in the actual prescription bottles.
Yep.
That have your name on them and the type of prescription it is, and
I'll put it in my day counter and then I bring the bottles with me so that I don't have to worry about doing that while I'm on the move.
Because then it can create a problem if it looks like you're just a drug mule.
In a little AM/PM divider.
And also like make sure if that's in your carry-on and you get flagged by TSA or whatever, that you're watching them review your medications, so that potentially, especially if you're listening to this and you have ADHD and you're on a controlled substance.
Oh yeah.
Just to make sure that that's not being taken by somebody, and like just verify. Like you're like entitled to ask for somebody to like join them in this, and just say like, look, I have controlled substances in there. I have a prescription for them, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and I get them back.
Don't take my shit.
Yeah.
I think it's also good to know ahead of time how you're planning on getting from the airport or train station you're in, like, to where you're going to be staying.
Yeah.
Know ahead of time, like, maybe the airport doesn't allow Uber, or, maybe the place that you're in doesn't allow Uber, so you have to use, like, a regular taxi service, and do you need cash? And so just, like, have things like that in mind before you're at the point where you have to find it and you're jet lagged.
Which I guess is where those travel vlogs come in.
Also, yeah, they're also helpful for that. And I do try and make sure, like, each day when we're, like, in and out, that I'm leaving with, like, the most minimal items possible. Did I include? I did, okay. So when we get home, I try and make sure before we leave, I write myself somewhere, whether I put it in my notes app on my phone, or like I usually travel with like a little pad of paper. I make like a brief grocery list so that when we're on our way home, we can stop and pick up like the essential items so that I don't have to like immediately go out and do that the next morning. I might be able to wait a day. I also travel with packing cubes. So when I'm prepping the night before coming back, all of my dirty clothes get put all together into packing cubes so that when I get home, I'm not going through the whole bag to try and figure out what has to get washed, what doesn't. I can literally take like 3 packing cubes and just dump them right into the wash.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what's dirty and what's clean. And I also am one of those people, literally walk in, I bring my suitcase in, it goes right in front of the washer, and I immediately divide up like what needs to go where. Like my shoes and like any accessories and perfume or anything like that is all going to have to go upstairs. So it all goes in a laundry basket.
I am medium good at doing that.
I don't necessarily like put everything away, but I at least take it out of the suitcase and put the suitcase away.
No, I don't do that. I will
Absolutely not.
Typically leave my suitcase in the middle of the floor so that I have to step over it every time I walk past it, and then I'll eventually get to it.
My spouse thinks I'm a psychopath for doing this, but
when PK went to Colorado for a week that time, his suitcase stayed on his side table in his living room for like months.
That just gave me so much anxiety for a minute. But I'm also, when I'm packing stuff, I'm packing like everyday things that I'm using on a regular basis.
Well, and I got him packing cubes with his suitcase for Christmas.
They are like
that helps.
the most.
We'll see what happens.
Clutch. I fit so much more in my suitcase with those.
Yeah, I
They're
need to
so
get myself
mandatory.
a pair.
They're amazing. Like 10 out of 10, I recommend having those. They're on my list of must-have travel items.
What else is on your list of must-have travel?
So yeah, anyway, I unpack just on like a high level. I'm not like great with it, but I do it on like a utility unpack. So must-have items, a neck pillow. I used to think it was the dumbest thing when I was doing like smaller trips, like these people with these fucking neck pillows. Do you use an inflatable one? I've used both. I'll be honest, I tend to wind up buying one at the airport and paying a premium because I can't find mine, and I know I have a million of them, and every time I clean something out, I find like 3 neck pillows.
Me with my fucking charging cord this morning.
Yes. Like I know I have so many of them, and I do have an inflatable one, and if you're like tight on space, it's definitely a good way to go because you can just like and pump it up.
Yeah.
Loop earplugs. Or like noise canceling of some sort, because I do get like overstimulated when I travel, especially when I'm traveling hungry and tired.
The sound of a plane puts me right to sleep, though.
Does it?
Oh my god, yeah.
I just feel like my ears are ringing.
Oh, it's like brown noise at like the perfect pitch or something. I don't know. Yeah. It like especially like I can like usually what I do is like because I play Candy Crush, some half boomer, but I'll like buy the like whatever pack from them and like spend actual money.
Yeah.
So that I have like unlimited lives and all that shit. And I'm like, I mean, I never do that unless I'm traveling.
Yeah.
But that way, because I know I'll have my phone on me.
Yep.
And that way I don't have to take anything else out of my freaking carry-on. And between that and then the noise, I go right to sleep.
I think having one of the things I do put in my backpack is always an eye mask. I always travel with an eye mask, but like one that like really blocks the light. Mm-hmm. Because man, on a plane, like especially if you're, I am generally able to sleep on a plane. Having an eye mask is just like it makes such a difference,
especially if it's not sleep. Either a red eye or an international flight. Like an international flights, they dim the lights in the cabin.
Yep,
but not in regular flights.
Even then, if somebody's sitting right next to you and they turn their light on, fucking eye mask all the way.
You just shit right all over your spouse there, didn't you?
Maybe.
Somebody sits in the
no,
seat
he
next
doesn't.
To me.
No, but like I've had people like are right in front of me.
Some guy
with their light, and I think I've used the parakeet comparison before. Like if there's light, I can't. So yeah, I always have a sleep mask, packing cubes, also compression socks. I know like I tend to get kind of like swollen when I fly. So I always have a pair of compression socks like in my carry-on to throw on.
Do you take your shoes off once you're in your seat?
usually, I am not the person that, like, puts my feet up on something but I'll, like, if I have comfortable shoes that are easy to slide in and off, I'll slide them. Like Allbirds, I'll slide off because I can, like, very easily slip them back on. I think it depends how long the flight is.
Yeah.
If it's more than a couple hours, I probably will. A luggage scale, because there is nothing worse than being at the check-in gate and you realize your luggage weighs too much. So, and then having to do that thing where you have to, like, take things out of one suitcase and put them in another suitcase or, like, pay extra fees. So it is worth paying for a dumb little luggage scale and saving yourself the chaos of trying to, like, redistribute weight or paying additional money. Having an international credit card to travel with, so you're using less cash. At this point, like, most places take credit cards. Yeah. It's still good to ask to make sure that they take them.
And make sure you let your credit card company know that you're traveling internationally and, like, the dates that you're going to be there.
Especially if you have, like, a debit card, because that's always where I've gotten snagged.
My Discover card, they're like, they will immediately call me if they think something's weird.
Catherine, where are you?
Yeah, basically. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great.
Well, no, because, like, sometimes you forget.
Yeah. I mean, they'll do it if I go to, like, Massachusetts to shop sometimes.
Yeah, that's nice. My old debit card was literally cloned, used at 3 o'clock in the morning in Miami, and they spent $700. Do you think my bank, I don't know, didn't allow the payment to go through? Nope, we had to wait for it to clear in order to even be able to report it as fraud. It was a whole thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, I was I was a beast with that. That really made me mad. I was not making a lot of money. Tune into Patreon. It was the fact that, like, you're allowing this person who clearly stole my credit card at 3 o'clock in the morning to spend $700 of my money.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, international credit card. Also, a crossbody purse. You are less likely to have your purse stolen, and it's very easy to then pull your purse in front of you.
Actually, right before we recorded this, I asked your spouse if he would stop being my friend if I started wearing a fanny pack. Because they're like...
He wouldn't, because now they're called I wear bags. One.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Oh, yeah, or a waist bag.
I keep seeing them everywhere, and I'm like, okay, but, like, even if you're wearing it, like, diagonally across you, that just makes so much more sense. Yep. And so easy to get to.
Yes.
Like, I'm not catching it on shit as I walk by stuff.
I got
how wide I am.
Like, a little one from Uniqlo for, like, I don't know, $10 or something stupid. I use that thing. I can fit so much in it. And depending on where I am, like, I can just swing it around in front of me, which is why I like the crossbody bag. Mm-hmm. Because I can just pull it around in front of me. And that's what I did the last time we were in Europe. I have, like, it's almost like not a mini backpack, but it's like a mix of that and a sling bag. So you can do that, or you can just, like, pull it around the front and then have it, like, right in front of you, which is way more secure because, especially, I mean, depending on where you're going.
Yeah.
Pickpocketing and stuff, or purse. I saw somebody's purse get snatched in DC one of the times we were there, so totally happens.
Oh, for sure. And it's that thing of, having something that zips closed and, like, not just, like, a flap or something.
Yep. You can just slip your hand into.
Way better. And,
sorry.
When I was in so in high school, we did, like, a tour of Europe with my English club. And we did London and Paris, and we were at Versailles. And there was a, like, family of 4 that they also put into our group. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, a mom and a dad and, like, a grandma and the son. And the son was, like, 8. Mm-hmm. And we all had our, like, EF tour backpacks that are bright orange and blue.
Oh, kill me.
Yeah. I was 17.
I mean, we got them for Viking, and I was, like, absolutely.
But we all had them, and we're, like, waiting outside, and it was kind of, like, overcast, and his grandma, like, went to zip it up and was like, "What did you have in your backpack?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just my umbrella." Somebody had taken his umbrella, like, opened it and took his umbrella. Like, they don't care. They're just gonna go for it.
They're just grabbing whatever's in there. Yeah, and, like, I'm a huge backpack fan. Like, I use a backpack every day for work. I would much rather use a backpack traveling, but realistically, I know how easy it is to just unzip somebody's backpack and grab something. So
you can do, like, those little locks.
Yeah, which even then, like, ADHD, I'm going to lose the key.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass.
I'm going to get really mad about having to unlock it. So I just do little sling bags, and it's so much more secure. Plus, I think it's good, like I said, about like only carrying what you absolutely need. I'm looking at my schedule for the day and I'm like, all right, it's going to be a little chilly. Like I'll bring a jacket. One of the things I do always bring with me is, those reusable bags that like fold up really small. Mm-hmm. I always travel with one of those because then like if you want to like go out shopping or something, you have a little bag that you can just like quick open up that doesn't take up a lot of space, and you don't have to worry about like bringing a bigger bag with you that day. Mm-hmm. You just have like this little thing that you can open up.
So are you saying you'd put like the other sweater in that or something?
Yeah, like if you need to like bring a sweater and an umbrella or something like that. Because I'm only going to travel with a small purse. I do try and make sure that I have a small reusable water bottle, like a small Hydro Flask that I can fit in the bag that I'm carrying. Like that's one of the things that's taken into consideration. Like, will this fit in this? Mm-hmm. So that I can bring water with me, because water is like stupid expensive for those plastic water bottles.
Yes.
So if I can just like fill it up in the morning and maybe not like rely on it all day, but at least if I need like a quick sip, I have water and Band-Aids. Traveling with Band-Aids in case you get like a blister or
Also, the Band-Aids brand Tough Strips are the best Band-Aids.
They're really
ever.
good. Are those the ones that are like clear?
No.
That like have the waterproof?
No. I think they do make a waterproof version, but their original version, which is like a fabric, the texture of it is almost like a burlap, like it's like a weave. Mm-hmm. But once you put it on, it will not come off unless you like fuck with it and like try to peel it off and then put it back down.
Yeah.
If you just put it on something, that's it. It is
impressive.
The best.
Yeah.
They're my favorite, especially for on your finger.
Yep.
So good. They last through like showers, washing hands.
That's nice.
They're my favorite.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more expensive, but like for that kind of thing,
right?
Like nothing is worse than having a blister and putting a Band-Aid on it, and then the Band-Aid getting rolled up and like making a
it just like makes me
blister on your blister.
Yes.
Like blister inception.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd rather just, I mean, I know it's dramatic, amputate my own foot than deal with that.
I don't find it dramatic. We should share the clip of that hawk or whatever it was with the water getting sprayed onto its feet and it just screams. That's kind of it. I mean, it really is like my feeling is I want to be focused on like the fun stuff that I can be doing. I don't want to be focused on like not feeling comfortable, or like if you tend to maybe get traveler's diarrhea, like bring something with you. Just
and don't forget sunblock.
Which I usually will put on like every time before we would go out, I would have. And I always make sure to have like a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a scarf. So like depending on the weather.
Hide from the cops.
Yes. Yeah. In case I'm robbing banks. I basically want to make sure that like if there's some kind of sudden change of weather that I can make sure that I'm comfortable. Because really that's what all of this stuff is, comfort based. I make it easy to unpack because it's more comfortable for me that way. I make sure that my house is my space is like kind of clean, so when I go home, I'm more comfortable.
Yeah. That was my mom's big thing when we were kids. She was like, whenever we'd go to the Cape for a week, she'd be like crazy cleaning the house. And I remember asking her like, what? Like, you're cleaning like people are coming over.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I don't want to come home to a mess.
Yeah.
Like,
I want the only mess that I'm coming home with to be the stuff that I'm bringing back from vacation.
Yeah. Which, and like, as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, I get it.
I get it now. Oh, I see why clean sheets are such a big deal. Yeah. So it's, another, like, dumb thing that is just, like, trial and error. When we've gone to, like, the British Isles, England, Scotland, they are primarily tea drinkers. They will give you instant coffee crystals, which are absolutely vile. If you're a coffee, I'm definitely a coffee person. I love coffee. Can't not. One time we flew to England and then we had a like 5-hour drive to get where we were going. So we'd been up for like 30 something hours. We went to bed for about 5 hours and then had to be up early the next morning. We also got lost on our way to the Airbnb, and truly a low point of my whole life.
Oh, I know. It sounds
just that feeling
terrible
of just like the GPS can't find it and you just like want to sob. So eventually we found it. We got about 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Got up the next morning like 6 a.m. because we had to like meet people. And I tried making my spouse and I a cup of coffee, and all they had were the instant coffee crystals and a French press, and I made it. And he said, "How is it?" And I said, "I can promise it's not the best cup of coffee that you've ever had, but I can also promise that it will be the worst cup of coffee you've ever had."
In Elf, when he's like, "Congratulations, world's best cup of coffee."
Yes.
Why would you use instant coffee crystals with a French press? Like that.
I didn't realize that they were, and there was no other way. I was like, am I just going to put these? I didn't realize they were just going to like dissolve.
I just don't know like why they gave you that combination.
They were like in the kitchen. It was like all I could find.
Crazy.
So I, through trial and error, have realized when you're flying there, bring a bag of coffee with you. Also, it's good because that takes up some space in your suitcase to give you a little bit of extra room in case you buy something while you're there. But pretty much every place you'll go won't have coffee, but will have a French press.
Oh, okay.
Don't know why.
I like also, I've had the instant coffee from Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks Via. Not bad, honestly.
This is booty flavored. It just tastes like booty.
I'm just saying, if you want to have instant coffee options and don't want to deal with like a French press or whatever, the Starbucks instant coffee is better.
We've even like if it was something where we were going to be like, we've had trips where we're, you know, staying in a place for a couple days, going to the next place for a couple days. We'll like stop at a grocery store, and sometimes we'll pack, if it folds flat in our suitcase, like a soft cooler, and we'll pick up like yogurt and like bread and maybe like cheese and fruit, just so that like if we need, or like granola bars.
That's what we did actually in that tour we did, because the continental breakfast is like deli meats and cheeses a lot of times in Europe, and so we would take extra and have like little deli sandwiches for lunch and save money that way, because we were poor college kids. And like no one's stopping me. So.
And I've also sometimes I'll travel with those like Bavita bars, and the Justin's.
Those will help you poop.
Somebody's looking to poop.
If you got diarrhea, that'll firm you right up.
If you want something stuck in your teeth all day, Bavita bars. And also like travel things of peanut butter or like almond butter.
Yeah, my mom uses the travel peanut butter cups a lot.
And it was just like golf, but it was really good to just in case.
It's a good emergency snack to have in your backpack when you're out and about. Like have that with a travel pack of like pretzels or something. And like,
or I wish that I could like those little, and I can only find them like when I'm traveling, the little packets of Sabra's hummus with the
the pretzel thins.
Underneath. Perfect. Like it's just such a nice. So it is good, I think, to just like, again, comfort. Plan ahead so that you're comfortable. If I want to just like eat a little, especially if you're staying in like an Airbnb where you like, you know, you have a fridge. And you may not have like food to make food in the kitchen. You at least have enough to like have a cup of coffee, have a little bit of something before you go out.
Ramen in the coffee maker.
Don't make ramen.
Andy Dwyer did.
Also, don't put carbonated beverages in a blender. Because
hurtful.
Little story. We were in a hotel room doing a girls' weekend, and Katie had joked. I thought it was a joke that she was going to bring a blender to make drinks, and I was like, she's not really going to bring a blender. Ha ha ha. Girlfriend brought a full-size blender.
I was like, oh, we'll just do like sangria stuff with these spiked seltzers. And I was like, it'll be like a smoothie, but, you know, to get drunk with. And to be fair, it was like a 4-hour drive.
For something that should have been an hour and a half.
Yeah, and like every highway was closed for...
There was accidents everywhere, fires everywhere.
Sirens in the distance.
It's one of those ones where you're like, is this the beginning of like Last of Us?
That is exactly what I asked you when we were in the pool, because it smelled like burning and there was a siren.
And there was a storm coming.
Are we about to die?
Did we die?
And then that sex worker got way close to the car in the Uber on our way to the restaurant.
I don't think anybody breathed for a minute. But yeah, Katie brought a whole ass blender into this hotel room and poured some of those Trulies.
So many bags for that trip.
I felt like a Sherpa going up to that room, and I was sweating by the time we got there. I was carrying so many fucking bags. It was insane.
It was our first attempt at doing anything after COVID.
Yes. So everybody was bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
And also at that point,
we're only going to be gone for one night.
One night. I started with the edibles real early, so I was whew.
We had fun in the pool.
We did. And Katie forgot how her legs worked, and she at one point, I was like, I'm gonna have some more of this chocolate bar edibles. Do you want any? And she was like, yep, give me 10 milligrams. And I was like, are you sure? Yep. She was so confident. And then her legs stopped working.
It wasn't my fault. The pool made them numb.
So that's our travel tips. Travel with edibles. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. I feel like that's most of... I was trying to, like, type it. I was thinking about, like, how I prep for a trip. I'm like, I feel like that's, like, most of my... Of course, there will be things that I'll remember in an hour, and I'll be like, oh, shit, I should have included that. Yeah. That I'll forget.
But that's what, comments on our post about for this episode will be for.
Yeah.
So
yeah, tell us if you have...
tell us your travel tips.
You're like... Because these are just, like, my survival tips for a trip. Those are just, like, how I don't freak out. It's not foolproof.
Don't you worry, the freakouts are still built in.
Yeah, like when it's hot and you're in a loud place and you haven't eaten anything but you've had a full beer, that will make things worse. So don't do that. Make sure you know where you're going to eat and you have snacks in case you get hungry. And remember to plan ahead and enjoy your trip.
Yeah. The bar is ankle high.
Bye.
Bye.